Gentlemen and female gentlemen, I have fantastic news. We are about to see a very salty lawyer cope. I know, that's probably a pretty harsh way to say it. The last person that got into beef with Legal Eagle ended up losing her entire career because of it. Yes, I am talking about Illuminati, who was also fat. Total coincidence, not relevant at all to mention. But Lord, was she overweight. Anyway, Legal Eagle made this video. ABC pays out Trump $16 million for defamation. And I'll be real here, I don't know a lot about Legal Eagle. All I know is that this dude was absolutely insufferable on the timeline recently. Like, I don't consider myself a political content creator, but I do consider myself making fun of douchebags. This guy specifically does not consider himself a political content creator, but is so, like, obviously anti-Trump in every fucking video he makes is insane. Bombshell, new evidence against Trump. Musk's $1 million illegal voting lottery? These lawsuits might determine the election. Is Trump stealing the White House? How to kill the Electoral College. Trump is never going to jail. All the crazy stuff Trump is going to do. Bro, it's insane. It's insane. I'm suing Trump. Bro, the Trump's nominees with a bunch of clowns in the background. Trump war against free speech. Like, I do have to say, this is actually kind of fucking insane. This is wild. Like, bro is actually spazzing out here. Now, I like the Legal Eagle, so this is not actually a negative Legal Eagle video. I did not watch this Legal Eagle video yet, so I don't know what we're getting into here. All I do know is that I am very much going to watch A Man in Denial. All right, listen, when there is someone happy about something, there is also someone unhappy about that same thing. Okay, this is the balance of the world. I am just honed in to find all the unhappy people, and we will make all of them into content. Subscribe for more content of unhappy people.
$16 million as part of a settlement for a defamation lawsuit that Trump filed against ABC in Florida related.
All right, so basically Trump won $16 million because he won a defamation lawsuit against ABC. This sounds like a huge dub to me. I'll be real here. I'll be honest. I fucking hate defamation. That shit sucks. That's like actually awful. Holy crap.
Due to statements by George Stephanopoulos. Did Trump have a valid claim? Or is ABC just trying to get under the good graces of the president-elect?
Are you insane? What kind of premise is this? Dude, I knew this was gonna be coping. I didn't realize it was gonna be this lame. You really think ABC is forking over $16 million? $16 million. You really think they are forking that over and humiliating themselves in the process to win the good graces of the president-elect? Bro, they shit on him daily. ABC. Trump wins second term or whatever. Trump renews threats that the U.S. should expand into Canada. We already covered this story. This is the most cope title of all time. Trump made a joke.
Turning to politics this morning,
and President lose their mind.
President-elect Trump making new threats to expand U.S. territory, referencing Canada, Greenland, and the Panama Canal.
Yeah, threats, terrifying threats. Yeah, oh God.
Prompting swift reaction from some of our allies. White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks joins us now with more. Mary Alice, good morning.
Anyway, you get the idea that I'm trying to make. These guys and ABC, they're shit on Trump daily. You really think they paid out a $16 million defamation lawsuit and made themselves look lame to be cooler in the eyes of the president-elect? Fucking bullshit. They paid up this claim either because they thought they would lose or because they flat out lied and defamed him. Those are the only two reasonable reasons.
Well, the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Right.
While this lawsuit wasn't quite as bad as some of the other complete nonsense lawsuits that he's filed, there were some very strange decisions made by the attorneys for ABC.
All right.
And an insider account shows that this is not great for democracy or free speech.
Dude, how can you possibly frame it like this? Like, the crazy thing is, I might be cringe in my own way, which I absolutely am. I am so anti-legacy mainstream media bullshit. Like, literally so anti all of that garbage. Without even a shadow of a doubt. Like those fucking corporate shit clowns that are literally slandering people all the time, fear-mongering the entire time. Like, dude, those guys all suck. Dude, you really think that this news station slandered Trump? Trump sued them for slandering him. He won the lawsuit, or they gave up and paid him out $16 million. And that's a threat to democracy and free speech? That's such like an insane way to put it. Anyway. Let's see what this is all about. I think if you can actually beat some mainstream media platforms by suing them for slander, absolutely you should do that. Because fuck those guys lying about you. And this is coming from me, a relatively irrelevant animated blue moron on the internet. I get slandered in these fucking mainstream media journalist crap shitholes. Trump definitely gets it worse.
As you might have heard, on December 13th, 2024, Donald Trump and ABC News announced a settlement in Trump's defamation lawsuit over an interview where George Stephanopoulos claimed the jury had found Trump liable for raping E. Jean Carroll. Now, in the lawsuit that Stephanopoulos was referring to, Donald Trump was found liable for defamation related to sexually abusing, but not raping E. Jean Carroll. But then the judge said in relation—
Okay, well that's a pretty big difference, I agree. All right, right? That is a difference. Obviously both fucking awful, but—
to the jury's verdict, quote, it establishes, as against Mr. Trump, the fact that Mr. Trump raped her. But it's actually quite a bit more complicated than that. The network agreed to pay $16 million to settle the claims, including a $15 million donation to Trump's presidential library and $1 million to his legal team. ABC also issued a public apology stating, quote, ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump made during an interview with Representative Nancy Mace on March 10th, 2024.
Sheesh! That's crazy. They actually issued a public apology aside from the $16 million payout. God damn! I am all for holding social media, giant, massive fucking giant media conglomerates accountable for this shit. Like, in my mind, this is great. I mean, unless he bullied them somehow, which I don't know if there's any evidence to that.
But back to where all this started. On March 10, 2024, Stephanopoulos interviewed South Carolina Republican Representative Nancy Mace, a rape victim and staunch defender of Donald Trump. During his interview, Stephanopoulos repeatedly asserted that Trump has been, quote, found liable for rape.
You've endorsed Donald Trump for president. Right. Donald Trump has been found liable for rape by a jury. Donald Trump has been found liable for defaming the victim of that rape by a jury. It's been affirmed by a judge.
Now, as we've covered in previous videos,
yikes.
The New York jury found Trump liable for defamation related to sexual abuse against Carroll. As the court explained, quote, the only point on which Miss Carroll did not prevail was whether she proved that Mr. Trump had raped her within the narrow technical meaning of a particular section of New York penal law, a section that provides that the—
You mean the definition, right? Like, you could definitely phrase it as the only point which Carroll did not prevail was whether she proved that Mr. Trump had raped her within the narrow technical meaning of a particular section of the New York penal law, also known as the definition. Listen, if he sexually assaulted this lady, which it seems like he did by the fact that he was found guilty for it, like, that's fucking awful. It's awful. It's abysmal. It's horrid. All right? Sure. But it's not rape.
The label rape, as used in criminal prosecutions in New York, applies only to vaginal penetration by penis. And here's a jury verdict form exculpating him from rape under New York.
All right. Did Miss Carroll prove it? Did Trump rape Miss Carroll? No. Did Trump satisfy Miss Carroll? Yes. Still fucking awful. Still insanely bad. Like, dude, this is not a character defense for Donald Trump, but it's not rape. And if you're always going to be so loosey-goosey with terms like this, anyone could call anyone else anything.
Law. So then why would Stephanopoulos repeatedly say that a jury found him liable for rape? Well,
Slander? Question mark?
Possibly because of what happened next. Trump filed a motion to get the verdict thrown out, claiming the award was excessive because the jury only found him guilty of groping her. Judge Lewis Kaplan denied the motion because Trump misrepresented what the jury found. Quote, the jury did not award Miss Carroll more than $2 million for groping her breasts through her clothing, wrongful as that might have been.
Yeah, that's fucking awful. That is incredibly fucking awful.
There was no evidence at all of such behavior. Instead,
oh, what? What?
The proof convincingly established and the jury implicitly found that Mr. Trump deliberately and forcibly penetrated Miss Carroll's vagina with his fingers, causing immediate pain and long-lasting emotional and psychological harm. Mr. Trump's argument, therefore, ignores the bulk of the evidence at trial, misinterprets the jury's verdict, and mistakenly focuses on the New York penal law definition of rape,
which is the proof, which is the definition, right?
To the exclusion of the meaning of that word as it was often used in everyday life and of the evidence of what actually occurred between Miss Carroll and Mr. Trump.
But there's a reason why these terms and words exist. I'm so confused, like, what he's fighting for. Like, ABC pays Trump out $16 million for defamation. Legal Eagle is supposed to convince me here right now that somehow this is the death of free speech. The guy said on the fucking news that Trump was found liable for rape, and he wasn't. It's awful what he did do. Again, I'm not getting into the fact that society was awful, 50 years ago or whatever. Like, all that shit's terrible. Not defending any of that, but he was not found liable for rape, and they said he was liable for rape. I'm, like, so confused, right?
And Judge Kaplan also said this, quote, "The finding that Ms. Carroll failed to prove that she was raped within the meaning of the New York penal law does not mean that she failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her as many people commonly understand the word rape. Indeed, as the evidence at trial recounted below makes clear, the jury found that Mr. Trump in fact did exactly that. And thus a reasonable person might conclude that Stephanopoulos echoed Judge Kaplan's finding during his interview with Representative Nancy Mace."
No, I'm questioning your political choices because you're supporting
shaming me. You're
someone
trying
who's
to
been
shame
found
me.
liable
Yikes.
for rape. Actually, I'm not trying to
You
shame
are. That's exactly
You're not
what
answering
you're
the
doing.
question.
I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
Which he wasn't found. Again, this is awful. Like, this is not a cool discussion, but if he wasn't found liable for rape, then this guy saying that he was found liable for rape is slander. Like, I am shocked that Legal Eagle is out here defending this. Like, he's a lawyer. Like, if this was not a Trump case, but this was some other case, like, this would be so different. Like, I'll give you a hypothetical on why I think, like, these terms matter, all right? Because let's say, according to your subjective opinion, anyone that plays Genshin Impact is a pedophile, because there are a lot of fucking lollies flying around in Genshin Impact, right? Let's say that's your fucking random definition to something. And you go on the news, because that's your definition, and you say, Tectone is a pedophile. Tectone's notorious Genshin Impact player. And you say, Tectone's a pedophile. Like, do you understand how that can definitely count as slander? That is 100% slander. Well, true, there are little lolly creatures flying around in Genshin Impact. That's true. That's a fact. But you are saying something that is false.
It's clear that the precise language that Stephanopoulos used was incorrect.
Okay, so that's slander. Because that was on broadcasted on national television. I don't understand how this is the death of free speech, Mr. Eagle. Again, I have nothing against Legal Eagle. I think that he's maybe potentially slightly skewed anti-Trump. But this is wild.
So Trump filed a defamation lawsuit against Stephanopoulos and ABC Disney. And now on the eve of Trump taking his seat as the president of the United States for the second time, ABC has not only settled the case for a whopping $16 million, but also issued a formal apology. So what gives? Well, when a public figure like Donald Trump accuses someone of defamation, the outcome is determined by the standards set forth in Landmark 1964 case, New York Times versus Sullivan. That case established that public figures must prove not only that the statement was false, but that it was made with actual malice, which is a term of art. It does not mean they...
That is a valid point. To say that maybe he misspoke. I mean, it's still a pretty big fuck up, obviously. But maybe it wasn't done with malice, right? Slander definitely needs to have malice as part of what slander is. So this is definitely something that could be argued, I guess. But that is, once again, subjective. It's up to a court to decide this kind of thing. How can I, as some sort of bystander, attribute whether someone's actions were malicious or not, right? I would argue that maybe it was malicious, because this was obviously someone that was calling Trump a rapist, that was massively anti-Trump, that was doing his best to torpedo Trump's campaign. So I could argue that that definitely did come from a place of malice.
He had ill intentions, but that the speaker either...
I love how people in my chat are saying, if someone fingered your butthole against your will for their sexual pleasure, would you consider it rape? Who am I? I'm a freaking idiot blue guy on the internet. Based on the term that's used in court, that would not be considered rape. Do I like that law? Irrelevant. Completely irrelevant. It's bad. It's sexual assault. It's fucking awful. But you should definitely understand that we have a court system for a reason, and definitions to words for a reason.
Knew it was false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. And as far as the law is concerned, truth is an absolute defense against defamation. And generally, the law does not require absolute precision for a statement to be considered true. On the contrary, a substantially true statement is also a defense to defamation. And courts recognize that protecting some inaccuracies is necessary to promote the broader goal of enabling the free flow of truthful speech. And that principle is embodied in the...
Chat, that was not me offering to finger your buttholes. Calm the fuck down, chat, all right?
substantial truth doctrine, which allows the speaker...
Yeah, ultimately, if they could prove that he actually is liable of rape, then that does negate the slander claims. That is true, but I don't think that happened.
...to make minor factual errors, as long as they do not materially change the essence of the statement. And as long as the speaker gets the gist of the statement right, they are generally protected from a defamation lawsuit, even if they got some of the details wrong. And the substantial truth doctrine is an important tool because if a defendant can demonstrate that a disputed statement is substantially true, judges will usually grant summary judgment, which dismisses the case before trial. And for all those reasons, Stephanopoulos probably thought that he was on safe legal ground when he asked Mace about Donald Trump committing rape. And on these facts, ABC probably had a reasonable expectation that the case would be thrown out on a motion to dismiss, a motion that's made before any of the discovery even begins. But that's not what happened here. Now, obviously, if you're fighting off a defamation claim from someone that has a lot of money to throw at lawyers, you'll want a good lawyer. But if you want a great lawyer, let my law firm...
There's no way! No way he shoves his sponsor into every single video. Oh my god. All right, dude. Listen, I am I'm anti-Trump, so therefore I hire the Legal Eagle defense. No.
ABC, the Florida court denied their motion to dismiss.
Okay, they denied the motion to dismiss. Very cool, very cool.
The judge did not buy ABC's substantial truth defense, saying that under Florida law, a case could only be dismissed if there was no defamatory meaning behind the defendant's statements. Quote, defendants cited cases stand only for the proposition that a court can dismiss a complaint based on a substantial truth if no factual questions are present. Where a court first determines that these statements are susceptible to a defamatory interpretation, factual questions arise that should be resolved by the trier of fact, here a jury. The Florida judge said that Stephanopoulos' statements had to be considered in context. Quote, here Stephanopoulos was not describing plaintiff's actions or Carroll's testimony against him, he was describing the jury's verdict.
That's such a crazy loophole. Oh my god. Yo, that's wild. Oh my god. He wasn't referring what happened. He was just talking about what the jury said happened. Damn. Dude, listen, that's a wild loophole.
And the judge said, quote, a reasonable jury could interpret Stephanopoulos' statements as defamatory. Stephanopoulos'
I mean, I definitely see how it could be defamatory, right? Nux is 100% getting canceled again for this video, at least getting a boost in hate for it. Yeah, no, 100%.
Exchange with Mace.
It's fucking awful. I know that people are going to somehow take this out of context to say that I'm supporting what Trump did to this lady or something like that, which is insane.
Lasted about 10 minutes, during which Stephanopoulos stated 10 times that a jury or juries had found plaintiff liable for rape. In fact, of course, the Carroll 2 jury did not find plaintiff liable for rape under New York penal law. It was Judge Kaplan who determined that the jury's verdict amounted to liability for rape. Yet none of these particularities make it into the segment such that a reasonable viewer would have indisputably understood what defendants now brief in detail. Now, none of that is completely unreasonable. When you're in the motion to dismiss stage, you're looking only at the allegations in the complaint itself and asking as a legal matter only, not a factual matter, could these allegations possibly state a claim?
All right. So we have to define a lot of things about slander in general. When it comes to slander, you have to make sure that what you said was false. Also, that there was malicious intent. And because the waters are so muddy on what could be considered malicious intent, it almost looks like it's up to the judge to define whether it's even a court case worth starting, right? Like, it's wild. It's so convoluted, dude.
Judge must assume the factual allegations are true, and if there is a disputed issue of fact, you cannot grant the motion to dismiss. Now, that being said, defamation cases are often susceptible to being disposed of at the motion to dismiss stage. You look at these statements as they were alleged to have been made, and you make a decision based on a question of law, whether that rises to the possibility of defamation. If they don't, then the case is simply dismissed.
Valid.
And here, another judge probably could have come to the conclusion that, based on these statements as alleged, they don't rise to the level of defamation.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I just said. It depends on the judge. I think judges, because the way this works is before they ever get to the court, from my understanding, first you have a judge decide if it even has like the possibility of counting as slander. And then they bring you in. Then they bring you into the fucking, to the people. Then they bring you into the court, for example. So you immediately have people sitting there deciding on whether it's something that's even worth considering. So when it comes to a statement like this, I think it absolutely is up in the air as to what the judge actually decides. Like, I really think it's up to the judge, like, in a case like this. I could argue that he thought that Trump was actually defined as liable for rape in saying what he said. Or maybe he was even using the colloquial term of rape, which is, you know, any form of penetration, regardless of, you know, fingering versus penis or any shit like that. Maybe he was saying something like that. I don't know. But ultimately, if the dude was not found liable for rape and he said liable for rape, that kind of sounds like slander, right? Especially when it was obviously used to tear this guy down. Like, the job was to tear down Trump.
But here, either option is not outside the bounds of legal reasonability. But at base, the Florida judge wasn't saying that Donald Trump was definitely going to win, merely that...
Right, so even Legal Eagle here is saying that there definitely is a case for this to count as slander, right? Legal Eagle is saying that based on the judge, right, the Florida judge definitely said this could potentially count as slander and should have, like, some sort of court case over it, all right? So even from the perspective of super anti-Trump guy, it is possible for this to be slander.
They couldn't dismiss the case at this early of a juncture.
Yeah.
Now, under normal circumstances, this ruling would probably concern ABC's lawyers, but was it really so serious that they needed to immediately settle for $16 million?
I mean, they are settling.
Well, that's where things get a little strange. The judge's order did not mean the case would go to trial. The ruling only ensured that the parties would conduct discovery. In a civil case like this, discovery is the pretrial process where both parties exchange information and gather evidence to prepare for trial. It allows each side to learn about the facts and evidence that the other party is going to present at trial. And this process was already well underway. And in fact, Donald Trump was scheduled to sit for a 4-hour deposition on December 16th. And that's part of why the timing of the settlement was so peculiar here.
That is weird. Plaintiff's deposition would be limited to 4 hours. Should take place in person and in this district. Plaintiff's counsel should schedule the deposition to take place in the week of December 16th. Defendant deposition will always be limited to 4 hours. All right.
The discovery process can be expensive, but it wouldn't amount to too much in this case, especially considering both parties had access to the bank accounts and the billions of dollars.
Or, more likely, they thought they would lose, and therefore they decided to settle instead of spend all this time fucking fighting and doing discovery and sitting through depositions, which is a lot more likely, right?
The order from the judge to make Donald Trump sit for a deposition, as well as George Stephanopoulos, just a week after the order, was widely hailed as a huge win for ABC. Because Donald Trump doesn't like sitting for depositions, and when he does, the results can be disastrous. And the cost of doing so, basically paying a few lawyers to prep for the deposition of Donald Trump and to defend the deposition of George Stephanopoulos, wouldn't have been all that much. You'd think that if you're ABC News, you would relish the opportunity to ask the incoming president questions under oath for 4 hours. After all, Trump has a history of erratic and damaging testimony. In past depositions, Trump has made statements that directly contradicted his legal claims, like misidentifying a photo of E. Jean Carroll as his ex-wife Marla Maples.
Yo, there's no way he mistook a photo and thought it was his ex-wife. That's crazy. Oh my fucking God, there's no way, dude.
I don't even know who the woman, let's see, I don't know who, it's Marla.
You say Marla's in the photo?
That's Marla, yeah, that's my wife.
Which woman are you pointing to? No.
Here. Oh, is that,
The person you just pointed to was Jean Carroll.
Who is that? Who is
There's no way. I mean, this is obviously a nothing burger, bros. Like, but dude, that's insane. He thought someone was his ex-wife in court. Oh God, that's bad. Holy shit.
Point your wife.
Bro, when you're like out there fucking mixing up random women with your wife, oh my fucking God, dude. Holy shit.
But at the same time, the deposition of George Stephanopoulos would also have posed some risks for ABC News as well.
True. Maybe it wasn't only bad for Trump to go on deposition.
Since Trump's lawyers would question him on his knowledge about the jury's verdict, and in an interview with E. Jean Carroll, Stephanopoulos asked Carroll how she felt about the jury not returning a rape verdict. And I'm sure the defense would have used that interview as proof that he knew or should have known the—
Bro's just gonna gloss over that? Bro, what? How are you gonna gloss over this? I'm shocked. I'm shocked. What? Where's the source? What is this? How do I find this? ABC, Jean Carroll. Dude, I'm never gonna find this shit. I'm never gonna find this shit, dude. I might have found this shit.
We're joined now by E. Jean Carroll and her attorney, Roberta Kaplan. Welcome back to Good Morning America. Has it settled in yet?
What a good question. The elation was so great on Friday. It filled me up. It was almost painful. It's taken really every day. Today, I'm just very happy because I'm calm enough to realize what she...
It's been reported the exchange smiles with the jurors. Yeah, is that true?
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, it was very moving. It made me burst into tears because they met my eyes for the first time. It's very moving.
Somebody would be taking a lot of risk to do that, right?
By down.
Where's the other? I may not get it right away. I definitely thought we got a few more $1 million immediately. I was like, well, that's...
Statement, and the former president storms out of the courtroom. I was wondering, did you think right then you'd won the case?
I definitely thought we got a few more $1 million, towards about $10 million. I didn't see him do it because I was facing the jury and he was on to my left, I was facing my right. But the idea in a case where our basic thesis is that he's a bully who can't follow the rules, to act like a bully who doesn't follow the rules is...
Look at this fucking like-dislike ratio. Dude, I can't find it. Let me see if I can find the show transcript. He's a bully. True. It's pretty awful. Does it just not show up? What was that? All right, liable. Bro, why is this not working? How does the word liable not show up? There's no evidence to support the verdict. Yeah, all right. That's not what I want. Dude, I just want to see it in the transcript of the video, bro. Why is it not showing up in the transcript? All right, let's see what this is about.
That's my intent. Well, perhaps a fund for the women who've been sexually assaulted by Donald Trump.
Are you confident the money's going to come through?
I'm pretty confident. We may not get it right away.
I don't know. Anyway, point is, can't find it. Don't know. But from what Legal Eagle just said here, that's insane.
Would also have posed some risks for ABC News as well.
All right, why would the risk? What were the risks for ABC News? All right.
Since Trump's lawyers would question him on his knowledge about the jury's verdict, and in an interview with E. Jean Carroll, Stephanopoulos asked Carroll how she felt about the jury not returning a rape verdict.
So he asked directly, how do you feel about the verdict not being rape? Directly said that. How do you feel about it not being rape? And still said in the other interview that he's found liable for rape. Like, he obviously made that distinction in his own head. How can you not think this is slander? Like, obviously, it's still bad. Is there any evidence that he even groped her and stuff? It doesn't matter, all right? He was found guilty for that in court, all right? So that is obviously not fucking slander, okay? Whether it happened, whether it didn't happen, only Trump and God know, okay? Those are the only people that know. We, mere mortals, have a court system that we have to follow, okay? So basically, the court found him guilty for that shit. So whatever. That's not slander if they say that. But if he in one interview says straight out, how do you feel about them finding him not liable for rape? And then on another interview, literally goes out there and says he was found liable for rape. How are you not going to call that slander? And the way Legal Eagle just glosses over it is insane. Like, look at this.
ABC News as well, since Trump's lawyers would question him on his knowledge about the jury's verdict. And in an interview with E. Jean Carroll, Stephanopoulos asked Carroll how she felt about the jury not returning a rape verdict. And I'm sure the defense would have used that interview as proof that he knew or should have known the parameters of the jury's findings.
Absolutely! What do you mean the defense, they would have twisted his words? He literally said it. I am so confused. He literally said, how does it feel that it was not a rape verdict? And then he goes on to the other show and he himself says in the other interview, he's a rapist. He was found liable for rape. Like, bro, dude, that's not the defense twisting stuff.
Likely setting the stage for suggesting that Stephanopoulos knew the facts but disregarded them, which would have gone a long way towards establishing actual malice. So it's true that the depositions posed risks for both sides. That isn't unusual at all. And once the discovery was completed, the parties would have filed motions for summary judgment, where ABC would have had another chance to get the case dismissed before trial. And not to mention, there was probably a not insignificant chance that Donald Trump just didn't show up for his deposition, which might have led to discovery sanctions later on and potentially getting the case thrown out on that basis as well. But at base, it is understandable that ABC would have been concerned what a Florida jury might find in this case if it ever went to a jury.
It's so shocking to me, like why he's like, or maybe it was just slander. Maybe it was like actually slander, like very obviously, and they thought they would lose. Like he's coming from the perspective of ABC could have won this if they fought it, but maybe they couldn't have won it.
But a jury trial was a long way off at this point. And there's no way that the lawyers would have generated tens of millions of dollars in fees, which is another thing that's really strange about this settlement. The network agreed to cough up $16 million. Now, in some jurisdictions, including Florida, a public figure must show actual monetary damages arising from all...
Okay, Jews for Jesus versus rap. Defamation standard in Florida. In addition to the presence of actual malice, plaintiff must prove publication of the statement, falsity of the statement, actual damages, and the statement was defamatory. All right, so the publication of the statement was that the interview went live. The falsity of the statement was that he was not actually found liable for rape. Actual damages, bro, this was broadcasted live to millions of people calling him a rapist to torpedo his presidency. People still call him a rapist, by the way. Like, I see people call him a rapist all the time. Like, I get people calling me fucking evil for supporting Trump, even though I don't actively support Trump. I just make fun of idiots on the internet. This is my duty. It's my calling. And the statement was defamatory. It was defamatory, right?
Statements, including those which qualify as defamatory per se. That means that in addition to proving the actual elements of defamation, Trump would have had to show direct monetary loss arising from Stephanopoulos.
I mean, I guess you could argue that, well, he technically did win the presidency, so maybe there weren't actual damages.
Statements. And I'm reminded of an observation from law professor Joe Dunman, who says, quote, "When I teach defamation and torts, I use him, Trump, as a hypo to test each of the elements. I personally think he's defamation proof. You can't hurt his further among his enemies, and his fans believe nothing negative about it. Literally everyone is in one camp."
Dude, that's a crazy take. That's an incredible take. Bro! Trump is the example for, you cannot, this is a tweet saying you cannot defame Trump because his reputation is already so bad. You can literally slander him and it's not defamation because you cannot hurt him. That is insane. Oh my God, that's crazy. Holy shit. That is one of the wildest takes. Oh my God. I mean, I hear where he's coming from. That's the funniest part. Like, I actually hear where he's coming from.
And not to mention, given the deluge of news coverage that Trump received in the run-up to the election, it's hard to imagine that Stephanopoulos' interview even made a ripple in that pond. But on the other hand, Trump might have been able to convince the court to presume he suffered damages because the claims were egregious. A jury made up of Floridians could be highly motivated to find in Trump's favor regardless.
Because it's a jury of Floridians, bro. That's why Trump has an advantage. ABC was scared, not because of the truth, but because the jury is Floridians, guys.
Regardless of the facts, or punish ABC regardless of the facts. And as George Conway points out, quote,
or maybe That's a this is crazy. Or maybe it's the fact that they actually would have lost the court case because it was obviously slander. Maybe.
The ABC News settlement makes zero sense from a legal standpoint.
Bro, what?
It assumes there is a moral or reputational difference between forcibly penetrating a woman's vagina with fingers and doing so with a penis.
Yeah, both are fucking awful. Admittedly, both are 100% terrible things to do. 100% horrible.
It also assumes that Trump has a reputation that could suffer damage. But look, big corporations are risk averse, and ABC obviously felt that the best course of action was to publicly apologize to Donald Trump and pay him $16 million for the offense. And obviously ABC's parent company, Disney, doesn't want to get into politics if it can avoid it.
Damn, it's a Disney hoopla.
Which we've seen in the past. And it's also possible that ABC Disney wanted to curry favor with the incoming president.
That's such a wild take, because ABC is constantly still flaming Trump for literally everything. You really think they're trying to incur favor by him? Like, dog.
And the New York Times claims it spoke to 3 anonymous sources about the rationale for the settlement. And according to the New York Times, the lawyers thought that a Florida jury would eventually award Trump with a judgment that far exceeded the amount of the proposed settlement. And according to the Times report,
oh, so they literally thought they were gonna lose the case, so therefore they paid out because they thought they'd lose even worse. Bro, dude, that means they thought they would lose. That makes perfect sense. Why would they pay out the settlement? Did Trump destroy freedom of speech? Remember, this is how he's framing the entire video. Is this a threat to democracy? No, they thought they'd lose.
ABC's lawyers admitted that if the damage award was excessive, the company would have a good case on appeal, but ABC didn't have the appetite for a multi-year fight. And the company feared that Trump would use the power of the presidency to come after them. And ABC's lawyers apparently also feared that the case would have devastating long-term effects for journalism. Quote, in the worst case scenario, Disney concluded, fighting the case would lead to the Supreme Court and become a vehicle for Mr. Trump and his allies to overturn the landmark First Amendment decision, the New York Times versus Sullivan.
They didn't want to fight for the sake of America because they might overturn the landmark First Amendment decision. Oh my God, that's insane. There's no way ABC News gave up $16 million and issued a public apology because they were afraid that Trump would win in the Supreme Court and overturn part of the First Amendment. And that's why the benevolent Disney, the people that fight for the little people, they sit on one knee and will take the sword to their chest. Yeah, shut the fuck up. But Disney literally, someone died eating food at a Disney place. No, someone died eating food at a Disney resort. Okay, was like allergic to something, and the Disney people gave them this food, even though they were allergic, and said that they couldn't eat it. They literally killed this man, and they did not pay because the guy was a Disney Plus subscriber. And in the Disney Plus terms of service, it says that you can't sue Disney. So Disney was literally free, even though they fucking killed this guy indirectly, in my opinion. But that's the Disney that's literally losing $16 million for the shit. Get out of here.
Vehicle for Mr. Trump and his allies to overturn the landmark First Amendment decision, the New York Times versus Sullivan.
Yeah, sure.
So don't be surprised if a bunch of news organizations flee the country, where they would really benefit from today's sponsor, Saley.
Yeah, so yeah, all right.
Because Saley is the answer.
Yeah, okay. News people are leaving the country. Yeah, Trump is so scary that all the news sites are leaving the country. This was like the biggest nothing burger video I've ever seen in my entire life. Obviously, Trump was found for something fucking awful and horrible. But he got slandered, ultimately, by the mainstream media, who does slander people all the time. Like, bro started this video saying that this settlement is literally a threat to democracy and freedom of speech. And his conclusion is that the reason why they ended up settling was because they thought they would lose. Or maybe Disney are altruistic and they didn't want Trump to overturn the fucking First Amendment. That is crazy to me. I'm so shocked he even made this video. Like, how much, like, dude, I don't even know if this is just like he hates Trump so much he needed to make this video. Holy shit. But anyway, I'm just a blue idiot on the internet. What do I know? Obviously, I'm gonna get canceled for this video. Very excited. Looking forward to it. Stay weird, fam. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.